But it has a lot of things that shows you you need to improve. And so what I got out of the main focus was on the very first page from 118. It says leaders have the power to make things better or worse for the people who follow them. And
Mhm.
so there are a lot of really good one-liners in here that didn't need much explanation, like that one that kind of is self-explaining. But on 121, I really like that it said people may teach what they know, but they reproduce what they are. And that goes along with this saying we hear all the time that actions speak louder than words. And you can tell your team to do all the things, but if you're not doing them yourself, then why should they do it? You know?
Yeah, I like the sentence right above that too, because it says when leaders are healthy, the people they lead tend to be healthy. When leaders are unhealthy, so are their followers. That's exactly what you're saying. It's like you can't expect people to do the things that you're not going to do. And if you're not doing something, the people following you won't do it either.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Do you have anything else to add to that little thing? On the next page, um, I liked whenever it said you won't remember when you retire what you did your first quarter of 1994. What you will remember is how many people you develop. And I feel like a lot of times we are focused on how many VIPs we add in a month or how many points growth we have, whatever, all of the, I guess, statistical side of our business. But I think what we forget is that our business morphs into so much more than that, so much more than the points and the VIPs. It kind of turns into how your team is doing and how many leaders you're developing and how many VIPs your team is adding instead of just you as an individual, what you're doing. And that's kind of what these last three chapters are really about, but it kind of put some focus onto how unimportant in the grand scheme of things the statistics are.
Yeah. And like the statistics, I feel like are a measure. It's like a measuring stick of your leadership,
Yeah.
right? Because it's like when you get up, um, even when you have your first person on your team go gold, or you have your first person go silver or whatever, the leaders on the team are like, oh my gosh, Justine developed 3 silvers this month. Well,
Mhm.
when you look at the statistics, like those people actually added the new VIPs, but it takes leadership to get those people doing the things to add the people to grow. And so those statistics help you measure how healthy and successful your leadership skills are. But
Yeah.
you also have to be careful not to fall into the trap of using those statistics to measure your failure too, because sometimes people don't do the work, and you've poured into them and you've bent over backwards to teach them things and they still don't do the things, and sometimes it's not on you.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. On page 24, like right under the first little paragraph or thing, it says when a leader knows where he is going and the people wait, sorry. When a leader knows where he is going and the people know that the leader knows where he is going, they begin to develop a healthy trust. You can't accomplish your goals if you don't know what your goals are or where you're going or what you're trying to reach. Maybe your goal isn't to be a diamond. That's totally okay, but you need to know what you where you want to go and what you want to do with your business. I wrote down the phrase whatever happens happens. I think that's a phrase that we use a lot to kind of, I guess, give ourselves the benefit of the doubt or, you know, shed light on the fact that we don't have control of everything, which we don't. But sometimes I feel like that can kind of be a toxic saying, especially in this type of business, when a lot of your control you don't have on the outside factors of communicating with people or like getting them to get on the products, the whatever happens happens is kind of not beneficial to say when it comes to your business. And so that's what can hurt whatever happens. Oh, wait, no, sorry. A whatever happens happens mentality can hurt the goals you have for yourself and the ones that you've picked out to achieve.
Yeah, I agree with that 100% because it really gives you room to let yourself off the hook.
Yeah.
And that's a dangerous place to be because if you didn't do the work, you're not going to get the results. But you
Yeah.
can't say, "Oh, well, I guess it just wasn't meant to be."
Mm-hmm.
Like that is letting yourself off the hook for not doing what you know you should have done. And when you set goals, you got to be ready to put your hands and your feet to work to get it
Yeah.
done. And the Lord will bless your action if you make him the center of it.
Yeah. And it's like, if you didn't achieve that goal, it's not because it wasn't meant to be. You have to look back and re-examine, like, what did I miss in my process of trying to get there? It's not just oh well, that's next month's problem, you know?
Do you feel like when that whatever, if it's meant to be, it will be, do you feel like that um like you said about like, well, I didn't hit my goal. It just must not have been meant to be. Do you feel like that is like a cop out for like being like maybe you were scared to really push for something that seemed unattainable? Like, do you think that that can be a just like an easy cop out?
Yes, I do think so. Which, on the flip side, I do believe that everything happens for a reason and there's a purpose behind everything. But you also have to be consciously making an effort and not just being like, it's my dream, so it'll come true eventually because it's what I want to happen. You have to consciously make an effort every single day, put the things onto the to-do list and check them off in order to get to where you want to go.
I agree with that. I think it goes along with setting your goals too. Because if you don't know where you're going or you don't have your goals, then you can't have that vision for somebody else either. Like you haven't experienced having that vision for yourself, so you can't do that for somebody else either.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I'm at. Like I have this vision and now I for myself, I have this vision for myself, but now I'm finding myself like going, this person that I've never talked to before, I know I can help, not with just the products. I know I can help with the business because I know what this opportunity has for them. And so I think that's kind of where I'm at is now that I have this vision for myself and these goals, now I'm ready to lead because I know the steps that I have to take. I can I'm going to start putting them, I mean, obviously putting them in practice and doing all of that. But I can actually create these systems that everybody has been working on and create a team. So, yeah.
Yeah, and like with it being a new month, all the leaders encourage their team members like set your goals for this month. What do you want to do? And if you don't do that, there's your first mistake. Like you need to have your goals, but not only do you need to have them, but I encourage you to make them specific. That is kind of last month I was just like, "Oh, I want to like add 3 VIPs." And that was kind of like my only goal because in what was the month before this? August, I didn't add anybody. And so I was like, "Well, I just want to add 3 people." But I wasn't specific enough with my goals that that was the only thing I did. I didn't go past the goal I had set for myself. I kind of limited myself at that. And that's what I think you mean, Mom, by like, it can be scary to set goals because what if you don't get them? Then it's like you realize that you had a goal and you didn't reach it at all, opposed to just like, oh, I hope this happens. If it does, great. If it doesn't, oh, well, like you're not holding yourself accountable at that point.
Yeah, but the cool thing is if you went for a goal and you didn't reach it, you at least got that much closer than you were last month to reaching the goal. So you just keep pushing. And along the way, we're going to learn things about ourselves. We're going to learn things about what we could have tweaked to do better. Okay, well, I tried something scary and it didn't work out. What can I do different next month? And even if you're not reaching your numerical goal or whatever it was that you set, you're still building yourself in the goal of developing yourself as a leader,
Yeah, exactly. I highlighted a lot, but some of it is not necessarily important enough to bring up, so I'm just going through what I highlighted real quick. Oh, okay. So the very last thing I kind of wanted to bring up is on page 131. And it says I don't really know the guy that he's talking about right here. Dale Bonner. Oh, it was someone he mentored. And it was a letter that someone had written to him. And in the letter it said, John, you have provided something for my head, my heart, and my hands. I had never really thought about it like that from a leader's perspective. I always kind of think about, yes, adding value, but that makes it so much more intimate, like between you and whoever you're mentoring. And so I just thought that that was cool and something that I'll try to apply to every leadership role that I have, no matter whether it's Plexus or on a team or in the classroom. Like, I just think that that was a really well articulated way to say that. And I liked it. Is there anything else y'all have throughout that chapter that kind of spoke to y'all or stuck out to you?
I like on 131, the last paragraph. He says, leadership is meant to lift up others. Peter Drucker observed that leadership is the lifting of a man's vision to higher heights, the raising of a man's performance to a higher standard, the building of a man's personality beyond its normal limitations. In other words, judge your leadership by the success of your team. So, when we can reach a place where we're helping people catch a vision and set their sights higher and start growing and reaching new things, like that's freaking exciting.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I guess we'll move on to chapter 11. So whenever wait, hang on, let me check something real quick. Okay, so whenever I was reading this, really a lot was popping into my head, just on past experiences and all of that. And I really like on page 134 when it says, I realized I couldn't do it if I stayed where I was. The next stage of growth would require me to give up my position, seek new and risky opportunities, and even move to another part of the country. I needed to face and answer a critical question. Am I willing to give up all that I have for a new level of growth? And that is scary. Like giving up where you are, what you've built, everything you've learned in order to do something completely new, get completely out of your comfort zone, and try to be successful at it is so intimidating. It's really scary. And so I commend the people who do that because I feel like this chapter really was like stepping on my toes because that is what I need to do is I've kind of gotten in like a comfortable spot where I like what I'm doing. I like that I'm gold. I have a small enough team that I'm able to kind of coach them one-on-one and it's not overwhelming. I have plenty of time to still do what I want and be with my friends, but also prioritize my Plexus business. but I want more out of it. And so this chapter was really good for me to read. But off of my soapbox. I think some of us on our team are like going through a spot like this, and it was really cool to read that and it encouraged you to just get out of your comfort zone, because it's like the saying, you can't grow in your comfort zone.
I've also heard it said, if you want to grow, you got to let go.
Yeah.
That's hard though, because that little cozy, comfortable spot feels really safe. And it's funny, like I was reading this thinking about I don't know why my mind went here, but like women who are in abusive relationships, they have a hard time leaving. Like they could give up everything for the chance at a better life, but their little comfortable spot, like even though they're being beaten senseless, it's all they know. And that
Yeah.
it's safe and it's comfortable. And it's like, really we can put ourselves in the same kind of situations, not that awful, but like we allow ourselves to stay in a place that's just comfortable, when if we let go, we could have so much more, and God could do so much more with us,
Yeah. On page 136, it kind of breaks it down even more about like what the decision is doing for you to stay comfortable. And it says, it's kind of at the bottom of the first chunk. And it says, what's maybe even worse, they harm others with their decisions to keep what they have. And then I skipped a little bit and highlighted some more. It says, we try to find a plateau, a resting place where we have comfortable stress and adequate finances. I had never thought that my decision to continue to stay comfortable is harming my level ones. And it's so true. Like it does. Me not growing and like wanting to be better is harming those people under me, because I'm not even giving them the opportunity to do that if I'm not growing myself. And so that really was like, oh, Kaylee, get it together. You are hurting your team. And so like honestly, I felt like something in my chest. I was like, I don't like that feeling of me hurting my team because I'm choosing to not be better, basically.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's really good. I didn't think of it that way either. You're so right.
I mean, we've said it multiple times throughout this book study that our our cap, our level, our invisible shield, whatever, is also where our team is going to stop as well. So, I mean, we've talked about that so many different times. If we get to Ruby, and that's always been our dream, or I mean, gold was always my end goal. Like, if I could just be gold, I'll be great. This is a great opportunity. And that's as far as it, I'm realizing that that's as far as my team will ever be, because I'm limited on my resources and my knowledge. And so that limits my entire team as well. So
Right. Yeah,
that
exactly.
goes that goes along with, everything we've talked about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That made me think of something else I wanted to say, but I lost it, so it must not have been that important. Um, on page 141, there were just, I literally wrote this on the side of my book. There are just some epic one-liners that I hope when y'all were reading it, y'all got. I don't have anything to add to these, like no explanation, no additional comments, but I just thought they were so good. So I wanted to say them out loud. And this is on page, kind of towards the bottom of page 141. And it says, leaders cannot rise on the wings of mediocrity. Period. That's freaking good. And then right below that, I highlighted, you will never regret giving your best. And if you give your best, there's no way that you can stay on the wings of mediocrity. I highlight those because they kind of went together. Everybody's best is different. It looks different, it's a different rank, it's a different number of team members, whatever. But your best will always take you more than what you expect and more than what you want to do, I think. And I think your best also grows. Like when you are, say you're a silver and you're giving your best, you have such limited knowledge. But as you grow and educate yourself, your best gets more. It kind of sounds like a dumb way to say that, but I don't know how else to articulate that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like when you start at the beginning of a track season, you gave it your best, but it wasn't your best time
Right.
ever, but you gave it your best, but you kept working out and you kept doing things and you kept giving your best day in and day out. And at the end of the season, your time was better. Your time was the best it had been, and it's the same thing. We have room for increase if we're consistently giving our best.
Yeah. There you go. See? That's a good way to say that. Okay. On page 142, this page was really, really summing up duplication. And like, we preach duplication in our business for our team members, for our VIPs. And that is an area where I lack a lot of knowledge. This is the part of my business that is, I don't know why, it's just so hard for me. Probably because I feel like I don't know what I'm doing myself. So I'm like, how can I like tell somebody else what to do or coach them through this journey? That's something I'm trying to work on, and I added it to my goals list after reading this. But it says leaders who gather followers add to what they can accomplish. Leaders who develop leaders multiply their ability. Both are getting you further, but do we want followers on our team or do we want leaders? I want a team full of leaders who are developing leaders who are developing leaders. I don't want a bunch of followers. Okay. So that is an area I need to grow. So if y'all have resources on duplication or something to just encourage me in that area, please send it to me.
Yeah, I think that there's a ton of podcasts and videos, probably even in health, happiness, and financial freedom on duplication. You can go into that group and literally search duplication, and you're going to find all kinds of information. But I think we tend to complicate what duplication is.
Yes.
Like I look at duplication and I'm like, I've got to get all these silvers and I've got to get all these people and I got to, multiply what's happening. But really all duplication is getting someone new and teaching them to do what you do. It is really that simple. And like, I think we tend to think we're not qualified to duplicate somebody, but you know how to sign up a VIP. You know how to help somebody sign up a VIP. You know how to help them find resources. All of those are duplication tools. And all you do is you just teach and you sit and you empower and you get those people doing those things. And then they are able to do more and teach it to someone else. That's duplication, and it's really that simple.
Yeah. I kind of sometimes, I think I've been relating it to like a math lesson. If I've had to teach someone a math lesson that they don't understand, it kind of either clicks or it doesn't, and I can explain it as many ways as I can think of, but if it doesn't click, they're not going to get it. Plexus isn't like that. Like it's so hands-on that when you walk someone through it, you can take a video of it, send it to them, and they can do it. Like there's so many ways to teach someone to do what you do that it doesn't have to click necessarily. When they get their own creativity in business, that's when it clicks for them. But on a base level, there's not really a whole lot of room for people just to not get it. It's really simple.
I think that's why we see a lot of people be able to go silver, because it's simple. It's like, it's really pretty brainless. You help 3 people and usually your sponsor does most of the heavy lifting on that, right? But by the time you get to gold and senior gold, you've had to figure some things out. You know, that's where the rubber meets the road a little bit, and you start having to push beyond what your sponsor has been spoon feeding you, really.
Mhm.
And we see a lot of people that don't go beyond gold. When we were at the Silver Stars retreat this week, one of the things that they said was, congratulations, you have made it further than 50% of the people that come into this business.
Wow.
That's a huge, like, even at like senior gold, you've made it further than 50% of the people that come into this business. That's insane. There's a lot of people that get to gold because it's not that difficult, because you figured out the basics of adding new VIPs. And then once you get past that, and you have to start duplicating, and you have to start leading, and you have to start doing the uncomfortable things, people just quit.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, but you can look at it, you know, you get those emails each week that are the you know, basically the brand ambassador shout outs from Plexus, and it's the recognition emails. And you see how many people are going silver, how many people are going fast start senior silver. And then you start noticing the people that are ranking up to gold and senior gold and ruby. And that list gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So pat yourself on the back. You guys are still here. You're doing great. Better than 50% of the people.
The very end of this chapter just focuses on when you decide that this is what you want, you have to make some trades, like in order to get there. And he talks about choose the second half over the first half. And I'm not going to relate this to a Plexus standpoint because 2 weeks ago we were at YA, which is like a young adults Bible study, and the message was literally on that. And he called it the last is the new first. And he kind of related it to comparison and all this stuff, but at the very end, he said, fear will come in and try to get us to take care of ourselves. And in that sense, when we get scared, we back off and try to figure it out ourselves, which is the complete opposite of what we need to do. And it's putting ourselves first, trying to get it and figure it out on our own. Whereas we need to step back, let go of our pride, let go of our fear, let go of what we think we can handle and give it to God, put Him first, and He will take care of it. Obviously, it's His job, and He loves to help us when we ask for it. And so I thought that that was cool that this book on leadership could make a correlation to something I learned at YA. I just thought that was really cool and wanted to share that with y'all because it was awesome. And it made my heart really happy that, and this guy has mentioned before that he was like a pastor or that he was a Christian. And so there's a lot of, this is not a spiritual or political book, but I think there's a lot of undertones that can be applied to our walk with the Lord. And so I just thought that that was really special because when we give our businesses to the Lord, when we give anything to the Lord and give Him the glory through it, we'll be blessed. And so put Him first in your business. And then I think that was the last thing I had that I really wanted to mention in this chapter. If y'all have anything else you want to touch on.
Very last sentence of, actually,
Yeah.
the last two sentences sum it up really well. Every new level of growth we hope to experience as leaders calls for a new level of change. You cannot have one without the other. If you want to be a better leader, get ready to make some trades.
Yeah, I have that highlighted. That's very true. It's kind of like I've never raised a kid before. I've just heard you say this, Mom. But you've said that you've loved every stage. Like, yes, in the grand scheme, you're raising a kid to be an adult. But when you break it down, there's so many different aspects of the toddler stage or the newborn stage. And then it's the teenager stage. And where was I going with that? I guess, oh, with levels of change. When you're involved in something so great that holds so much weight, there are a lot of levels of change and you have to change with it, but it's going to be so rewarding if you continue to grow with the process. Okay. Was that everything for chapter 11? You want to talk about? Okay. The first thing I highlighted was just a really cool little snippet that I thought was really sentimental. It's on page 148, and it says it's right before the new solo leaders. It's right above that. And it says, that night I left with the impression that everyone was valued because everyone was valuable. It takes a lot of people to create a success, and it's a great reminder that as leaders, we need to credit others for our success. And that is a direct correlation to our business because we can go so far on our own, but that's the whole concept of our pyramid scheme, is building people under us to push us forward. And we have to give those people the credit for the rank that we are, because we couldn't do it without them, literally. And everyone on your team is valuable, whether they add 1 VIP a month or whether they add 5. That 1 VIP could get you that extra rank. If that other person couldn't do it, then you wouldn't make it, you know? So I thought that that was just a good reminder. On page 151, he talks about his mentors and supporters. And so with every kind of one that he talked about or gave a name for, I tried to think of those people for me. And so it said, some mentors who never knew they helped me. Those for me are the podcasts I listen to, or the people's like YouTube channels, YouTube videos that I watch, you know, stuff like that. Those are those people for me. The mentors who knew me and never knew they helped me. Those are the people who I think that I get inspiration from their posts for me. The posts are out there to help everybody. And they might not know that they specifically helped me, but that was just kind of the correlation that I made to my business and those mentors for me. And then finally, the mentors who knew me and knew that they helped me, those are my uplines. Those are the people who pour into me, are wanting me to grow, and that have kind of more personal relationship with. I actually only have one more thing to talk about, and it's the very last sentence, and it says, people always appreciate working for someone who appreciates them. I feel like everyone has kind of had an experience being under someone or working someone who they didn't respect because the leader didn't respect them. And that is a leader that I never ever want to be, because I've had leaders like that, and it was so hard for me to do what they asked, or it was so hard for me to want to have a good attitude when being around them, and I never want to be that for my team. So I think that that's just a really good, to the point reminder to appreciate your people, because they do a lot for you. And that's everything I had. If y'all had more that y'all wanted to touch on.
I don't know if y'all read the conclusion. There were a couple of good nuggets in there, but it was just kind of summing it all up. But the last part of the conclusion says, when you have the confidence to be yourself and allow your team members to be themselves, together you can become the team you were always meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that, because that's the kind of leader I want to be. You know, I want to be the kind of leader that like draws out the best in people, and helps them develop their strengths even more, so that they can be confident being who they are, and operating their business the way that suits them best, you know?
Yeah. That's everything I have. Nothing else comes to my mind. I'm really glad that you chose this book, Mom. It was easy read and so rich. Like I just want to go back and read it again. And like whenever you watch a movie that you really, really like the very first time, you're just like there to enjoy it. And then you go back and you're like, I never got that reference or I missed that joke. I feel like I need to do that with this book because there's probably so much more in there that I just missed. Or or it's like when you're in a different stage of life, different things stick out to you. Like when you read the Bible, I feel like that's what this book is gonna be. So I'm just gonna read it a lot, I feel like.
Yeah, it's neat. I was telling Dad the other day that when I started this book, it was a little over a year ago. I can't remember if I started it when I was gold or senior gold. I think I was a gold. And I can remember reading it and feeling frustration with myself, frustration that I wasn't further along, all of these things. And then like, over a year later, I'm reading it and a lot has changed. And it's neat because I am picking up different things that didn't stand out to me then because I was in a
Yeah.
completely different place. I mean, this is something I think we could read every year and get something out of it because
Yeah.
we're going to be in a different place, in our business. But he's great. He's a phenomenal writer, great
Mm-hmm.
encourager. If y'all are looking for something else to continue, I don't know. I know for me, I'm in another book study right now, so I can only do one now with what's going on in our life. But if you're looking for something to kind of keep this habit of weekly personal development, I highly recommend his book called The 21, I think it's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Let me grab it real quick because it's really, really good. Yeah. Yeah. 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And we're doing this one in our rubies, like rubies and above, we're doing it. And it's really, really good. Another one I would recommend that he does, and it's a short read, kind of like Self-Aware Leader, is The Power of Five. And it's like the 5 disciplines, and it's specifically for network marketers. There were people in Plexus that actually helped him develop the book. So it's really, really, really good. But those two are ones that I would definitely write down and put on your reading list for, sometime when you can, or when you're reading, really needing something, feeling like you need to grow.
And they're both from him.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. And then he has another one. Oh, here's The Power of Five. Sorry, I'm just seeing up my nose. This is The Power of Five. It's called The Power of Five for Network Marketers. It's fantastic. And then the next one I am personally going to do is this one, 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. This is the one I'm going to do when I'm finished with all my book studies. Because I don't know about y'all, but I do not want to stay where I am. Ruby's great, but I don't want to stay at Ruby. I want to grow. And I got to figure out what I need to do that. So, Amanda, you got anything to add? Right. Another
Thanks
awesome.
for being gracious for me being late. That was really nice of y'all.
It happens. Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed doing this with y'all. It made my heart so happy. And I look forward to doing these again when the season's right and everybody's available. And if you come across something and you want to do it together, let me know because I'm always down. So I love y'all. I am proud of you. And I am so extremely grateful for each and every one of you and what you mean. What you mean in my business? Because I wouldn't be here without you. And it brings me so much joy to do this with you. And I hope you feel that. I hope you know it. And I am just so excited about what's to come, because y'all better hold on. It's going to be good. So I love y'all. Y'all have a great rest of your evening.